I think it's working now. We back. Back again. Guess who back? We working now, bro.
What?
Yeah, we working now. Working. Yeah, it's back. Got the audio. BJ, can you hear us? Look. Yeah, there it is. Boom, boom.
Episode 130 and a half.
130 take two.
130.5.
I'm gonna keep the OBS on so I can watch the audio mixer. Make sure that it's staying on. So, anyways, we was talking about Steve Sarkisian.
Who's that?
Who that is? I was talking to Orlando Arriaga, owner of Taco Shack. I called him the other day, but he was at the Westlake game.
Dude, there's a taco shack by where I stay at that just closed. And it's turned into one taco.
Where you in Pflugerville?
No, in
Where you?
620.
Oh, Lake Creek.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was Lake Creek area.
Yeah,
It turned into really.
Yeah.
He goes over there.
turning into one taco.
I didn't know that. I don't know. Shout out to Steven Anguiano. He got on to take two. Let's see. He says Herman gone. Laughing face. BJ, now speak the truth. Sark will make a UT a power. Like BJ and Steven, y'all go ahead and comment back and forth on if y'all think Sark will be will make UT a powerhouse. See, Emo says Sark will put us in the dark. I like the rhyme there. Emo is not a Sarkisian fan. I'll tell you what. I'm not excited about it.
I'm not excited that
You were kind of right.
I'm not excited that you just had this like crazy performance of a guy that's been like a young guy in the program, younger guy in terms of like how much he's played, and now you're changing systems on him. You know, now like you're bringing in an offensive guy who's going to change the system, and Casey Thompson just balled out in the old system.
Yeah, and I mean, as a UT fan, as a Longhorn fan in the Herman era, I haven't put a whole lot of stock into what the Longhorns have done in the bowl games. You know.
Maybe this class with Sam Ehlinger, like those couple of classes, is just not a dud, but it's just not going to work. So I'd almost just have the guys that are supposed to leave and just start fresh with some of the younger guys.
Yeah, and just get Casey in there and get all these other guys. Give them a new.
a lot of people if they're expecting to play this season because this guy will be gone, and all of a sudden this guy got another year of eligibility.
Yeah.
It kind of stunts the. Does that mean we're gonna have more players transfer because they're not playing when they thought they would?
I mean,
They're not gonna develop as much because they're not.
Yeah, we having issues, bro. Dang it. Oh my! There goes again. See, and it comes back, and then it comes back on.
Episode 130.6.
Take 3. So I'm gonna have to keep. Like I said, I'm just gonna keep an eye on it, man, because it's just like it's almost like if we stop talking, it turns off.
So we got to keep talking.
We got to keep on. No dead air. No dead air. You got to keep the bar going on the green. All right, man. No dead air. Okay, Steve Sarkisian's in. Tom Herman's out. I'm not excited.
I'm moderately excited.
Are you excited about Casey Thompson?
I think so. I think I've been excited for. Dude, put it back. I can't see. I think I've been excited for him. I think I've been excited for him. I think we kind of knew that he was talented, and I think it was prominent by how hard they were trying to keep him once he said that once he entered the transfer portal last year or the year before. And I think it goes to show the type of talent they knew they had by how much they fought to keep him and not as much to keep Cam Rising, who transferred to Utah. So I think they knew they kind of had a player kind of sitting in the on deck circle that was ready to take over once Sam was gone, and I think now his assignment, and I think that if he can kind of stick it out and not play like diva and stay, I think Hudson Card will be under center before we know it. But I think it should be Casey Thompson's time. Yeah,
and I think like what really excited me about his play, and I know it's a very small sample size, was that the fact that he was able to, hit those deep routes like with pretty much ease. Like it wasn't. At times you would see Sam like overthrow guys or underthrow them. You know what I'm saying? And with the ones that I saw, like I said, very small sample size. The ones I saw with Casey, it was right on there. So
and I think also. About a 4-1 team.
I mean, not much, man. I mean, that's just that, and that's the thing, like when they announced, oh yeah, Texas playing Colorado, like who cares? Like I was just like, give us somebody,
like you can't
better.
Tell me you know enough about Colorado to tell me that that's going to be a good matchup.
And it's just like, I mean, it just wasn't a name. I mean, I know.
That's why I think they should have pre-booked all the bowl games.
And I'm starting to agree with you. At first, when you started saying that at the back in October or whatever it was, and you were talking about that, I was like, man, Zach, you're crazy. But now I'm kind of like, it makes sense just because of the way things were this year.
Like maybe keep the New Year's 6 to like what it's supposed to be, but all the other ones, like even make them like a if then type thing, where these group of teams are going to play in this bowl unless this team makes a New Year's Six. And tell me that like halfway through the year. Mm-hmm. So to avoid Colorado playing Texas in a game that should have, quote unquote, sold out.
Yeah, know? I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, I would have rather seen Texas play a terrible team with a name just because it might have been easier. Right. It would have been easier to watch. I mean, like, to see Texas play
Mississippi State,
Penn State. You know, even though they were terrible this year, and be like Texas Penn State. Oh man, okay, cool. That'd be fun to watch. I think, even though it probably would have been a bad game, but I mean, just like Texas, Colorado, and everybody was trying to sell it like it was a old, Big 12 matchup, whatever. And I was just like, man, I wasn't excited about it.
That was never even a good matchup when they were in the Big 12.
Nah, I wasn't really. But anyways, back to the personnel. BJ saying that UT is going to be all about Bijan, which I'd have to.
That's why they kept Stan Drayton too. They retained him on the staff just because he has such close ties with Robinson. And speaking of the staff in Penn State, it's funny that you said that. The Yursich, the offensive coordinator, that's where he's going.
Oh, okay.
To Penn State.
Yeah, and BJ's also saying that Sark will hand the ball to Bijan 25 times. Why does that not happen? I don't know. I think that was what should have been happening all year. But I don't know. Just I felt like Tom Herman just had too big of an ego. If it wasn't his idea, then he wasn't gonna roll with it. So, well, now his idea is, now his ideas are gonna go somewhere else. And don't get me wrong. I mean, Tom Herman's gonna land somewhere. Shout out to Emo for bringing up Rashad Salam. Okay, talking about Colorado. So, do you even know who that is?
Salami.
Yeah.
Pastrami.
I don't think he knows who that is.
Raymond Pastrami.
Yeah, but the audio seems to keep working. So that's what's up. Steven even says Zach not old enough to remember Salam. That's true. So UT 2021.
At least it's different. At least it's a change.
When fall comes around, August comes around, is Zach Lucero going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to watch this game.
No, I'm gonna be watching it. I watched the bowl game.
You did? Okay.
So I'm back on the gravy train.
All right, cool. All right, so August comes. Let's say July comes. Let's move back. Let's move a little bit forward.
Would you rather? Which would be worse for you as a fan? Keeping Tom Herman and it being the same shit, or getting a new coach and it being the same shit? Which would be worse for you?
I guess I getting the new coach and it being the same shit. Yeah.
Because at least it's something is different.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and even Wes puts the yawn. He says yawn. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Wes. I don't know what you're yawning about. I don't know if it's our show, but
probably watching a show with no audio is probably
the audio's on, still working. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, if it's the same UT with a new coach, what was the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just keep Herman. Like, give him another year. I mean, see what happens with Casey Thompson. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Sam Ehlinger wasn't his guy. Right?
Sam Ehlinger.
That was Charlie Strong's guy.
And he did a lot of things this year that, like, he lost some games this year. For as good as Sam Ehlinger is in, like, UT football history, like, it was time for him to. He kind of one more year, he might have overstayed his welcome,
Okay. And thanks, Wes, for clarifying that. He says he's talking about Texas football. And I think Steven makes a good point here. He said he would have not renewed his tickets with Herman. And we talked about that in the messenger, and Emo made a big point about, that. So, I mean, do you think that was a factor in Herman leaving? Like, they're just trying to, I don't know, inject a little bit of excitement into the Texas football because it is kind of yawn right now, as Wes puts it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can't talk about Arkansas; we get sick. So, I think just from hearing like all of the like people, the insiders and things like that Tom Herman was just never with the donors and the regents and the athletic director and the high ups. He was just never really with them. Like, he was never.
Well, I mean, yeah, there was always a strained relationship. We've been between him and Del Conte, CDC.
Right.
So you know what?
I'm kind of thinking like that him saying like Tom Herman is going to be our coach next year, and then firing him like a couple weeks later is like might have just been him being a douche about it.
CDC?
Yeah,
it could have been. I don't know. I think there's got to be, and I need to call Big O, call Orlando, because he said he was like, oh, I'm gonna call you later. He didn't get to call me back, but he said I'll tell you the story. So apparently there's a story.
But you know what I mean though, like if you're, I mean like you're BJ always trying to commandeer the show.
Oh no, do you want me to answer it?
It doesn't matter. Like if you're like a boss of somebody that you really don't like, that you really, really don't like, and that dude's always like, yo, we're good, right? We're good, right?
Yeah,
we're good.
We're good, right?
We're good, whatever, it's cool. And then like his paper could come on your desk and be terminate. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. All right. Okay, BJ. We'll let you give you your 2 cents. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, yes. Thank you for inviting me on. This is my favorite show.
We didn't invite you on. But go ahead, BJ.
Well, I always consider the invitation, it's one of those things where it's like an open invitation, but you hope they never take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I think I'll make good points on Sark, but I actually think it's a good move. And here's the deal. Sark has been regarded as one of the best offensive coordinators, game planners for about a decade. He had some personal trials that kind of knocked him off like the top of like the A+ list, right? And he paid the penalty for that.
Yeah, he did.
And thankfully, he went through and he got he sought help and he's doing better. And then what did he do after that? Well, he earned his way on to an Alabama staff, right? Yeah. Built an amazing staff there, right? As far as people underneath him, all the players that have come through that he has personally recruited and then propelled to excellence. He's coming over to Texas with this different mindset. He is bringing right now, we already know the Alabama offensive line coach is coming with him, right? This is the guy who recruited the Brockenmeyers and just name an Alabama offensive lineman for the last 5 years. He's the guy that recruited them. The other guy he's bringing is some guy that's some amazing wide receiver recruiter. I forget his name, but he's from Ole Miss. This is the guy that went out and found DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown and got them to Ole Miss. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure this guy knows what he's doing. The Seattle strength and conditioning coach is coming down because that's an old Pete Carroll tie. So here is an NFL guy, because here's what you do with recruiting. All recruiting is about now, I believe, I could be wrong, is we're going to get you to the NFL, come play for us. You're going to get a shot. You're going to go to the NFL, right? So here is a guy who puts people in the NFL. You're going to be coached by all these players who can walk up to that guy and say, oh, this guy. I sat in his living room just like I'm sitting in your living room. You're going to the NFL. Strength and conditioning program is going to be like, I know what it takes to go to the NFL. Here's my Super Bowl ring. Have you ever heard of the Seattle Seahawks? You know, and I think it's going to turn recruiting around. I think the management's going to turn around. I think for the first time in a decade, we're going to have a coaching staff that's going to say, let's run the ball 25 times a game. And if you beat us, hats off to you. And we have the stable of backs to do that. And we got these young quarterbacks that can run around and make plays and enough help on the outside that, as bad as the Big 12 is, guys, I think this is a great hire. I think this could propel Texas. That's my point.
All right, BJ. Appreciate the call, brother. We'll talk to you later.
Sure, guys. I'm listening. Yeah.
All right, man. Cool. Later. So what do you think about that? I mean, we talk about recruiting, Zach, and it's a pretty good point. Recruiting, especially at the 4 and 5 star level right now, like BJ says, it's about, hey, we're going to develop you and get you to the NFL. You think Sarkisian will be able to, recruit in that manner? I
mean, I think in terms of recruiting, it's a point I think I've made on like when we last did an episode like a year ago or something. Like that's really at Texas, the recruiting kind of just follows as of like the last few years. It kind of just follows this like graph where you have a coach, you start to do bad, you get a new coach, you get a bump in recruiting. That's like when Tom Herman got here, we were like the number 1 recruiting class. When Charlie Strong was here, we were a top recruiting class. You get that new coach bump, you don't develop the players, your team starts to do bad, you go down, you get a new coach, you get that bump again. So I mean, I think getting a bump in recruiting is something that we can expect just from being here and getting a new, and what we've seen from when you get a new coach. It's just what happens after that. Yeah. I'm really not worried about recruiting. I mean, just getting a new coach is going to bring you recruits. I think that past experiences have shown that. It's just what happens after.
Do you know when signing day is?
February something.
Like early February? Yeah,
I think
I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, Steven's asking. Let's see. And yeah, I mean, yeah, Steven's saying it comes down to recruiting and development. Let's see, West, recruit is not the problem. I thought developing players was a problem, and it is.
It's not the first part. It's not the first part.
It's not the recruiting. It's the development.
It's just everything after that.
Yeah. So I mean, and like I said, and so I mean that's kind of what BJ's saying is saying, hey, look, you know, we're going to develop you and get you to the NFL, but that's going to take.
BJ's saying that that's going to take recruiting is going to be good because they're going to recruit with the pitch of developing you.
Yeah. And
I feel like that's always the pitch. You know what I mean?
Can do that if you're Sarkisian at this point because you are new and you're coming from Alabama, and that's the that's the whole thing.
If you're Charlie Strong and you're defensive minded and you're this and you're this, or you're Tom Herman and you're coming from a successful program at Houston, you're regarded as the top young offensive mind in college football. It's the same. It's the same thing. Every first recruiting cycle with the new coach is just literally everything after they sign. And that's
that's just because of the name of Texas, right? I mean
that, and just having a new toy. You know, like everyone's gonna want to come over if you have a new toy.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Fair point. And we'll see what happens. You know, I mean, like I said, it's not exciting hire to a lot of the fan base, but I think the donors are happy. I think Del Conte's happy. Some of the season ticket holders are happy, like Steven Anguiano. Shout out to Steven. He's gonna, he's gonna get his season tickets. And I think it's unanimous here in the comments between Wes, Steven, Emo, BJ. I mean, they're all saying, you know, it's the development, you know, and so, but that's the thing. It's like, okay, we'll see if they can develop. I mean, if you develop players, then you're obviously going to win some football games and you're going to win some championships. And I think that's the point of, it's just a win, baby, right, Steven? Good point. I mean, if you develop, you're going to win football games, you're going to win championships, you're going to get back into those New Year's Six games, at least into, you know, and then hopefully into the top four, you know. So speaking of the top four, are you excited about the national championship game on Monday? Or is it just ho-hum because it's Alabama, Ohio State?
Do you think it's getting stale?
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same.
How it gets unstale.
It's the same teams all the time, man. Yeah. Adding more, having at least 8 teams,
because you're gonna always have 3 of the 4,
right? And if you add 4 more teams and it's Alabama, Ohio State again next year, so be it. All right, okay, I will be more excited about that, you know, because they had more teams involved and more teams had a chance to go
the semifinal games are almost not must see TV.
I wasn't even interested. I wasn't even interested in them.
Even the second game, you like kind of know.
I mean, granted, like I was surprised. I was surprised that Ohio State took care of business the way they did against Clemson. But when you think about it, also like Clemson played they played a lot more games than Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State was, you know, a lot. They were fresh.
Yeah.
You know, like they didn't have to, you know, go through a lot of the, you know, bumps and bruises. You know, so I don't know. I'm not hating Wes. He's saying don't hate because Alabama and Ohio State actually win with the recruits they get. I'm not hating. I'm just saying we're saying it's stale. And Steven is saying, you know, expand the playoff. And if you expand the playoff, then it won't be stale anymore. And I actually might be interested. And if it does, like I said, if it does go and be Ohio State, Alabama, okay, cool. Awesome. At least there was something different. Like we were talking about the different coach.
Yeah.
At least it's something different. So, I mean, I'm not really excited about it. I'm actually going to be down at Corner Bar, by the way, y'all. We're going to do some tacos Monday night. Hopefully it's not sleeting. We're going to do another taco night, I believe, for the national championship. If we have the national championship game. And I know.
I mean, if we have it.
Man, there's. There were rumors talking about they might move it because of COVID issues for Ohio State.
Oh, really?
You hear that?
Uh-uh.
Yeah. And my theory was that Justin Fields isn't 100% healthy. So Ohio State might be like, you know, making up some numbers, fudging the numbers. as Paul Rodriguez
Cooking
would
the
say.
books.
Cooking the books, as Paul would say. Shout out to Paul. Let's see. Paul Partita says more blowouts, or he says blowouts, but I think he meant blowouts. And Weston says we're happy we just got a playoff, man. That's true. We're happy that we got this far in the football season. So, I'm not excited about Alabama, Ohio State. Shout out to Devontae Smith for winning the Heisman.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great pick.
Who do you think is better? I know.
Nobody else did a whole lot to win it. So I think that was good.
I think so. They turn in the Heisman votes before the bowl games, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Well, I mean, they usually do. I mean, usually the Heisman is the beginning of December. It's like before any of the bowls even start.
Yeah.
So.
I wanted Kyle Trask to win. And
Did
I think so. Did you hear Dan Mullen after that Florida game, after they lost to Oklahoma?
Mm-mm.
He was basically saying like nobody played and like we didn't really care. He's like, I think our scout team did a good job. He said, but like, I think that hurt Kyle Trask a lot because he played really bad in that game.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah.
And like Kyle Trask was like a stock that was rising. And then you're going to take away all the players and say you're not taking it seriously when your quarterback has one of his worst games of his career.
Yeah.
Like, I think, granted, I think the Heisman votes are cast before that game, but if not, like, that would have lost him the Heisman. If it would have gone differently, like, that could have lost him the Heisman if you're a coach, like, not taking a game seriously when you have players that are trying to, like, better themselves in the future,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think everything about this season was just wonky, as for lack of a better word in my brain right now. But so I think, with the way that Trevor Lawrence, ended, I think, him missing or getting COVID, and we said that, getting COVID, gave you disqualified you from getting the Heisman. So maybe that's what his issue was. But I think it was. I wasn't mad about Devontae Smith. I think he's a great kid. I think he's a great player. If Jalen Waddell doesn't get hurt, he doesn't win the Heisman Trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So someone said that Trevor Lawrence lost on purpose so that Justin Fields could build his stock, so that Trevor Lawrence wouldn't have to go play for the whatever poopy team is going to be number one. Who is that? The
Jaguars. Yeah. Jacksonville.
So they wouldn't have to go there.
I mean, it was either Jacksonville or the Jets. I mean, I'd rather go to Jacksonville. If I'm going to be on a crappy team, I'd rather be in Florida than in New York. So, I don't know. At least the weather's better.
Yeah, that's true.
So, speaking of the NFL, we got the NFL games coming up today. Colts Bills at noon.
At what time is Revelry open?
4:00. Or no, 5:00.
Oh, dang.
Why? What's going
on? This Westlake game is at 2:00. It's on TV.
Oh, it's on KBBO?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, if I don't go anywhere, I might have some plans. But if I don't go anywhere, I can watch it here. Corner Bar's
Are you working?
Corner Bar's open. Yeah. Corner Bar's open at noon. They're opening early
For the Westlake game?
Yeah.
They're opening the bar for the high school game.
I wonder if they would put it on somewhere.
I'm sure
they put it on one. They'd put it on.
I'm sure they would, but I don't think they would advertise. Come drink some freaking mixers and watch some high school football.
Let's see. Let's talk about how Sanchez has never seen Remember the Titans. Wes always gives me.
You never seen Remember the Titans?
No, man.
My dad, like growing up, if we ever couldn't decide on a movie to watch, he would just get up and put Remember the Titans.
Okay, and I think he's talking about that because we were talking about the Heisman and then Trevor Lawrence, and they always call Trevor Lawrence Sunshine.
Yeah.
So, and he always said that. He's like, "Oh, Sunshine." Every time we talked about Clemson at work, he'd say, "Oh, yeah," he'd say Sunshine, Sunshine," and I'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
You gotta watch.
He's like, "Yeah, do you ever see Remember the Titans?" And I'm like, "Nah, bro, I haven't seen it." So,
hey, what'd you think with that Ryan Garcia fight?
I didn't get to see it. I saw the highlights.
They have the whole fight on YouTube.
They have it on there. I'll watch it. Luke Campbell. I think it was great.
Well, you can't talk about
knockout.
You didn't see it.
I saw the knockout.
That doesn't count.
Okay, I'll watch it. I'll watch
to
it.
be
I'll watch
continued.
the fight.
We'll watch that in. We'll talk about that in episode 130.8.
Okay. And I do want to talk a little bit about Texas basketball, Steven. You mentioned it here. Let's see, but I do. Let's start today's games. Colts,
Before we
Bills.
talk about the games, let's talk about that fantasy football championship.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How I beat with pretty much my same team that I drafted, beat BJ, who had 100 transactions. 100.
He did have 100. Was it 100?
It was like 97.
97, 98.
100 transactions.
Yeah.
What are you doing 100 times?
Ah man, that's how BJ,
To lose. To lose to me, who didn't even wake up on time to do the draft.
You got very lucky, man. Your team stayed healthy, dude. Your team stayed healthy. That's what it's all about.
100 transactions. Maybe if he would have had 100 transactions, he would have won.
Congratulations.
Maybe he would have had 3 more and gotten to 100. Maybe that would have pushed him over the top.
Oh yeah,
But I had 10.
that's true. We got a shout out to Wes. He said fantasy football is some BS. Did you see how Wes lost to BJ?
No, but he probably should have had 100 transactions. It would have put him.
So-
it would have got him second place.
Wes lost to BJ because, and we let Zach win. We didn't let Zach win, Steven. He won fair and square. I don't know how he did it, but he did. Wes lost to BJ on the last play of the Giants. I think it was Giants football team game when Colt McCoy got sacked. I can't remember whatever defense that Colt McCoy and the Giants were facing that week. I think it was a football. Was it a football team? Yeah, I think it was. It was the very last play, and Colt got sacked, and that gave the defense like an extra point something points or an extra point or something like that.
Through transitive properties,
So,
I'm sure Wes did something that made that happen. And he probably okayed some trade or dropped some player that was one of BJ's 100 transactions. Like, y'all need to quit enabling this man to do all of these trades. He had 15 trades, 90 something waiver moves. Y'all need to get this. That is not okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the app held up.
That's true.
100 transactions.
But congratulations,
lose.
man. Yeah. So
10.
you had 10.
10 total transactions.
That's all you needed, bro. Well, when you're a football genius mind like yours, then
The trick is to wake up on Sundays at 11:30 and be like, oh crap, let me check my lineup.
Let me check my line and make sure that everybody's supposed to be playing. Everybody's in that's supposed to be.
Yeah,
in.
and then go back to sleep.
And then go back to sleep. Yeah. Bills, Colts. Bills are. It says 6.5, but I believe it's up to 7 points. Bills are just everybody's picking the Bills. Everybody on the Bills. There's a million reasons why the Bills should win. They're the hottest team. They got Josh Allen, who could have been an MVP. Everybody's comparing him. Is he like Mahomes? Blah blah blah. They're at home. They're playing against the Colts and Phillip Rivers, who are a dome team, and usually dome teams don't do well outside. So many reasons why the Bills should win this game. Would it be crazy for me to pick the Colts to win this game?
No.
You don't think
Is that
so?
how you think?
Yeah. It's just one of those games where so many people are on the Bills that the Colts are going to win.
Yeah.
Like
let you down. Let everybody
you
down.
know, and then the Vegas is just going to win millions, and they're going to have a record day.
You see that 2021 was a record, or 2020 was a record year for Vegas.
Oh, I'm sure it was
In
because
terms
nobody
of,
had nothing to do.
winnings and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody had anything to do. So there was probably a lot of people, a lot of suckers out there, that were making bets because they were probably sitting at home being like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything. I might as well bet on sports." So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts win this game. Team of football, I think they won their last 5 games. They're 6-1 since week 10. But the Colts were 6-2 since week 10. I mean, they're just as hot. You can't take away from what Jonathan Taylor's done. If he's healthy, you got to watch out for that run game. And, as long as you don't leave it in the hands of Phillip Rivers, then you'll be all right. But Stephon Diggs is playing. I know him and Beasley were Emo's favorite player, Beasley. They were both kind of questionable, but they're supposed to be both good to go. Rams Seahawks. That's gonna be a home game.
Who's favored in that game?
That's gonna be Seattle by 3 points. So I think that'll be a good game. Those teams, they just know each other so well. That's gonna be fun. I would not be surprised. I like the Seahawks. I'd pick the Seattle to to cover 3 points, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams game a game just because of how familiar they are with each other. And then you got tonight Bucks and football team, Tom Brady.
I wonder why they made that the primetime game. Tom Brady.
Yeah, pretty much. Just Tom
I feel
Brady.
like that middle game was the.
Rams Seahawks. Yeah, Emo picks the Rams. I wouldn't be surprised, Emo. Wouldn't be surprised. Like I said. Yeah, it's just a Tom Brady thing. I think that's it because they want to. I believe if they win, they're going to play Green Bay, so they want to sell that that Tom versus Aaron.
Maybe it'll be like those
next
high
week.
school games, and like the Packers will be there in the stands watching.
That'd be funny. That'd be awesome. And then tomorrow we got Ravens Titans. Everybody's on. A lot of people are on the Ravens. I'm on the Titans.
These some good matchups tomorrow.
Yeah. I know. I'm completely opposite of what Wes is right now. So I don't know if Jared Goff is playing or not. Wes, I think he is. I think that Jared Goff is questionable in that Rams game. So we'll have to. I think we'll have to check that. But yeah, Ravens, Titans, Bears, Saints, and then Browns, Steelers tomorrow. Browns are going to actually have to play the first string of the Steelers this time around. Baker Mayfield, does he have any chance to beat the Steelers?
I think he's already earned himself some more progressive commercials, so that's all I need.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Bears, Saints, any chance that Bears upset the Saints? I think Michael Thomas is supposed to be playing too. So
I think it's a game though.
Yeah, I like David Montgomery, man. He was on a couple of my teams, man. There was. I can't remember which show it was. I wish I could remember so I could give him credit. But there was one fantasy football show that called him Mandatory Montgomery. And I was like, if you had David Montgomery on your team, you just had to play him, just because like he would get you at least 50. He was
At least 50
50, 60 yards. Possibly a touchdown. You get some passes. Like he would get at least 10 points a game. They called him Mandatory Montgomery. He would never do anything that was like crazy. 40, 50 point game, but he was just a stalwart for them. Ravens, Titans. I know Wes is all about Lamar, and I just think Bears, Saints. Emo says Bears in the overtime. I got to go with the Saints. Browns, Steelers. I got to go Steelers, man. There's I don't know. Just like Juju said, the Browns are the Browns. UT basketball. Before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about UT basketball. How far are we expecting them to go in the tournament, Zach? At this point, like, what would your expectation be?
I'll say Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. Would that be?
I think anything past Sweet 16 is like overachieving.
Okay.
Is like everybody freaking out.
Yeah, I mean, they're ranked number 4 right now. Yeah. So you think, but you still think not a top 4 team. You don't think Final Four?
And I think it's just going to be hard to know this year because the scheduling and stuff like that. You know,
that's true. Can they win a Big 12 championship? They already beat Kansas once.
I'm saying
they're going to win a Big 12 championship.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I just feel like you rarely have these teams just come out of nowhere and make the Elite Eight or come out of nowhere and win a conference championship.
I don't think they've come out of nowhere, though. Do you think they've come out of nowhere?
What did they do last year?
They haven't really done a whole lot, but I think similar to what
they won the WBC.
Yeah, I mean
tournament or what?
I think that they've given Shaka enough rope, enough leeway. Give him a leash.
To grow some hair,
and to develop his team and develop his players, into the team that he wants.
But but that's only because of how bad they've been that no one's been able to leave.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Good point, Wes. Baylor's a tough team, so Baylor, yeah, that could be the roadblock for. Leaving, but still, I mean, that's the type of team that Shaka
it's not
needs.
like he's convincing them to stay. It's not like he's doing some like
I mean, Greg
coaching
Brown.
wizardry to be like.
I mean, Greg Brown's going to be one and done, right?
Right.
You know, so he's always going to. Texas is always going to have that one guy.
Matt Coleman was like one of the top rated recruits coming out of high school, like to the point where he should have been gone to Texas, balled out, been a one and done, but he got to Texas and didn't.
Right.
So he had to stay.
But still, I mean, like, I think, you know, I think what Shaka has been able to do now is say, hey, I'm gonna build a core. I'm gonna build this base of players that aren't going to be one and done, and then I'm gonna bring, you know, one superstar in. Those guys, I mean, I can see them in the NBA, but you know, they're not Greg Brown,
Right.
you know. So,
I mean, even Greg Brown hasn't been like Cade Cunningham.
Who?
Cade Cunningham.
Who's that?
He was like the number one recruit. He's
Yeah, that's
he's
right.
at Oklahoma State.
Yeah. No, he hasn't.
Like, he hasn't really been taking over games.
He's been,
But I think we see
more,
with Jackson Hayes that
he's been more.
that you don't really have to.
He's been more of Brock Cunningham so far.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brock Cunningham. That dude, he plays, man.
What role player?
Role player, man. If that dude isn't on the ground like every other play, I'm surprised. Like,
A defensive stopper.
he's just like he's just diving after the ball all the time.
Better than the other dude from Westlake that transferred.
Will Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of sucked.
He did, but I don't think he wasn't made for the type of basketball that Shaka runs.
See, I think that I
Like,
agree.
he was like-
I agree.
It's almost like they're running horns again. They're running up and down that, you know, they want to fly high over the rim. They want to, you know, push the ball. They're like defensively, they're just pressure.
I mean, Jericho Sims might be having a better year than Greg Brown, but
possibly.
like look at Will Baker and then look at that Wiseman dude from Memphis.
Okay.
That playing for Golden State.
Okay.
That dude's like starting.
What's the team that Boban plays for now?
Dallas.
Yeah. So I was watching Boban. I don't know why. I just like.
Did you
I
ever
like
see
watching.
him get killed in John Wick?
No, I didn't see that. No.
He got
I'll have to check it
killed.
out. But I was watching Boban. I was watching Boban run up and down the court. And granted, he was just like, but like he was like kind of in slow motion, and he's kind of like. And he's like, he's kind of calling for the ball, but he's not really. He's just. That's audio. Man, there we go.
Audio's back.
I think it might be you know what? It might be Facebook. I think it might be the Facebook thing. Yeah.
And Luke could get us.
That's true. That's true. Well, we're cutting in and out.
All they use him for is when the ball gets stuck at the top of the backboard.
That's
He
true.
Gets it off.
Well, we're cutting in and out, so we'll go ahead. I'm gonna. You know what? I think I need to update this stuff. There was an OBS update that I needed to do.
It's iOS. You're trying to get iOS too.
What are you gonna do today?
I don't know. Maybe I'll go to Revelry tonight.
You gonna bring Lindsay?
I don't know.
Sore subject.
Shout out to Cedar Park. Shout out Westlake.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Liberty Hill.
Oh yeah. We didn't even get to talk about Vandy game. Oh, the audio's back. Oh my God. What happened to that Vandy game, dude?
They couldn't stop Hayes. Power
Oh.
run, just if you're a power run team, you'll beat Vanderbilt.
Oh, okay. All right. Does Hayes have a chance against Katy today?
0.
Yeah. 0.
They have 100% chance of having 0%.
Yeah. 100%. What's the chance that Westlake beats Galena Park North Shore?
49%.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think. I think it's like 20.
Really?
Yeah.
All than every other team in 6A.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, man. Let's get out of here. This audio's messing up. I'm gonna fix it. Sorry, y'all. Love y'all. Thanks for getting it. We'll get it. We'll get it fixed. Later.